Okay, that was a hot lap around Monza. Let's go ahead and take a look at the timetable so you guys can see the sector times. We wound up on a 148 flat. More time in the car. Just spent a little bit more time putting laps in. Definitely drop into the 47s. If you're used to the Porsche or you're just faster than I am, it'll probably be pretty easy to get into the 47s. Can definitely feel it in the car. But those are the sector times nevertheless. We'll go ahead and take a look at the setup here. So on the tires page, really the only thing to talk about, trying to keep the tire pressures around 28 psi hot. You'll need to adjust this if you're driving in different conditions most likely, but looking for, it's really around like 27 and a half to about 27.8 psi hot is kind of what I'm aiming to keep the tire pressures around, just not really wanting to go over 28 psi. The fronts do take a little bit of time to build up temperature. The rears are going to build more temperature than the fronts. If you struggle, you wind up running in some sort of conditions where your rear tire temperatures are getting too hot, you might want to consider opening up the rear brake ducts to try and control the amount of heat buildup inside that wheel rim and keep your pressures from getting out of control and sliding and just generating more temp that way. But yeah, other than that, just wait on the fronts to heat up a little bit, and first 2 laps or so, and then the front really starts to have some really good grip, in my opinion. On the electronics page, these are just the settings I felt comfortable with for these conditions. If you need to adjust them for your track conditions or your preferences, it's totally normal. Don't be afraid to play with those. Brake pad compound for the front and rear was on 2. I did this lap using 30 liters. Well, started with 30 liters of fuel. It should be fine for more fuel as well. On the suspension side of things, so I wound up making the front a little bit on the stiff side. I wanted to run really soft wheel rates. Just because it's Monza, you want the mechanical grip. You're not really going to run a whole lot of aero either, but control the car kind of pitching around and everything, and also trying to keep the car, the rear of the car, from gripping up so much that you just understeered anytime you got on the power. That's why we're running the anti-roll bar on the rear so stiff. That's why the preload on the rear is so high, also to try and give a little bit more stability on turn-in. And if you want a little bit more rotation on throttle, you can increase this rear wheel rate. It can definitely help you out. I was just trying to make this nice and stable. And if you do want a little bit more responsiveness on turn-in, you can try to increase the front anti-roll bar here. It'll give you a little bit more on your initial turn-in, but it might, if you increase the rear wheel rate, it'll increase the rotation. If you increase this front anti-roll bar, it'll increase the initial turn-in, but you'll also then get a little bit of understeer in the middle of the corner, and potentially quite a bit of understeer on the corner exit. That's what I found anyways with the stiffer front anti-roll bar, but you can definitely play with those settings if you want. On the dampers, this is just basically for balance and trying to keep the car happy on heavy braking, putting the power down, and then hitting some of the curbs around the track. So these are the settings I wound up using. On the aero side of things, I am using a little bit of rear wing. This is to try and keep the rear of the car happy and safe on, especially under heavy braking and turning in, like Lesmo 1, for example. If you can live with a little bit more rotation out of the car, you could decrease this rear wing by 1 click, but it's really not a huge difference in straight line speed. Where you're going to get more straight line speed is from lowering the rear ride height. However, whenever I tried lower rear ride height, the curbs, especially the exit curb of Ascari, the one that it's pretty easy to clip even if you're trying to avoid, absolutely destroys the car. It is extremely uncomfortable, so I wound up just running it a little bit higher and compensating with a little bit of wing to keep the car nice and steady through the Lesmos. If you do want a little bit more front end as well, instead of messing with the rear of the car, you can always just give yourself a little bit more splitter on the front. It's pretty easy and not really much cost to doing that. So the link for the setup to download it will be in the description. If you guys do like this video, please make sure to give it a like. Consider subscribing if you want to see some more content. We do more than just setups here on the channel, do some racing and everything. I would love for you guys to check that stuff out as well. It's just the stuff I enjoy doing. I enjoy having you all along, and I hope this setup can help you guys out, and I hope you all enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.